the exposure that people are getting to Saudi Arabia now is largely through investments in PGA and football. And I want to do a little deep dive today on just the update on the sporting sector, but specifically on the news this week about Saudi Arabia's interest in boxing, which I will talk about in a second as a sport that kind of is in need of disruption. Unlike maybe the other sports that have been invested in by Saudi Arabia, boxing is one that has kind of fallen off in terms of its organization and its sort of cohesion as a sport to watch or follow. So this is via the New York Times, Reuters, and a few other sources that started reporting on this week. It's the second week of June. Quote, an ambitious and expensive Saudi plan that would reshape the economic structure and future of boxing is in the final stages of approval, according to two people with direct knowledge of the plan. Proposal awaiting financing would attempt to bring together dozens of the world's best boxers in a single Saudi-run pro league. So let's talk about what we know so far and what's been reported. We should be clear. We don't know really anything that isn't public information at this time on this project. So it's just through these two news sources that cited unnamed people commenting on it. So first is Saudi Arabia's giant sovereign wealth fund, which is the PIF, is going to be one of the financiers of the project. As much as $2 billion may be put into the new league by the PIF, and that would create a value for the new league at $4 to $5 billion, according to one of the sources. In one potential version of the new league, the PIF would take a minority stake, so it wouldn't be like a PIF-controlled new boxing league, although they'd probably have maybe in the high 40s, I would estimate, if they're putting that kind of coin into an endeavor like this. It was developed with the help of multiple consultancy firms, shocker, including Boston Consulting Group, BCG, which has helped PIF on several projects. So the league, this is actually kind of cool. 200 of top men's boxers in the world would be signed. So you have this like creation of a league where they're signing all these boxers, going through the different promotion agencies or companies that I guess own the rights to the boxers to fight. And then they take these 200 men's boxers and divide them into 12 weight classes. And then you'll have this sort of like, obviously you won't have boxers fighting across weight classes, but you'll have like an actual league structure, which would be kind of the first time that's ever happened for boxing. Each class would include about 15 fighters, allowing the best talents to regularly face off. 15 fighters are ranked in leagues per weight division, as well as one ranking for the best, quote, pound for pound fighters. This is all via the New York Times. In the Saudi-backed event, boxers would be able to move up the rankings tables, but also be eliminated from the series and replaced by new talent, which is kind of cool. I don't think that's the same deal with Live Golf. So, and then this is again a direct quote from the New York Times, quote, the move would effectively create a single boxing entity that would replace the sometimes chaotic and frustrating system of dueling promoters and warring sanctioning bodies. The new entity would have the resources and the fighters to stage high-profile cards around the globe, and unlike many of the sports Saudi Arabia has previously attempted to disrupt, professional boxing may be ripe for reimagining. The sport has lost its luster and some of its allure in recent decades and is currently run by a tangled web of rival promoters and disparate sanctioning bodies that arrange their own fights and award their own titles. That leaves fans to sift through a confusing system that frequently stymies meetings between the best boxers and one that boasts multiple, quote, champions in the same weight classes. So I'm not a boxing guy. I'm a lover, not a fighter. This sounds awesome, though, and it sounds like I think the reason why I'm not a boxing guy is because I don't really understand it. I'm not like into it, but I don't really get what it means. But it seems like back in the day when you had like Frazier and Ali and even Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield, there was like a Lennox Lewis. There was like an understanding of who is the best. And when you watched a boxing fight, it was like, this is for the winner of everything. Like, this is the best in the world. And now I feel like there's UFC and there's all these different kinds of fightings that are happening. And I'm kind of like, So this seems like it would kind of add some organization to the whole boxing situation. There's going to be some, just get ready and make sure you're sitting down. There's going to be the same exact backlash against this as there was against golf and tennis and football investments. Just get ready for it because it's coming. It may not be quite as vociferous as maybe the last sort of previous ones were because it's not as surprising anymore, but this seems like it might actually be something that could be needed. So I'm kind of interested to see how this works out. Really quickly, Hannah, on the other sports investments this year, this would be the big one that they do if they do it, and it may come to fruition in the next few weeks. Tennis is another huge area of investment especially for the PIF this year. The Women's Tennis Association rankings for the next 5 years are going to be sponsored by Saudi Arabia. The association announced its championship series would also be held in Riyadh. Prize money, of course, jumps up big time, $15.25 million. That's a 70% jump from last year. And they signed Rafael Nadal earlier this year as an ambassador for the Saudi Tennis Federation. So investments into tennis, and then finally golf. We're not going to get into soccer or football because it's kind of too... There's international investments, and then there's the local Saudi Pro League development. That's its own title, its own subject. Golf, I just wanted to mention, sorry, Abdul Rahman, we're talking golf for the next 30 seconds. They have not finalized a merger yet between the PGA and LIV this week. This weekend is the PGA Championship, which is being held at Pinehurst. Amazing course. Number 2, Tiger Woods called a recent in-person meeting productive, said the two sides, quote, want the same thing. So you really have, I think we're going to get close to this golf merger here very soon. It sounds like they are aligned. Deep dive, I don't know if it's a deep dive. It's kind of like a shallow skim of the big pool of sporting investments that Saudi Arabia is doing, but kind of an update on all that's happening there.
Thank you for the update. I do think that people are interested in that. I think you definitely did a bit of a deep dive on the boxing news, which is, again, it's kind of rumors, but it's being picked up by Reuters, New York Times. And I was also reading a little bit on Sports Pro website about it.
That's a regular source for you, right? Sports Pro Media.
Yeah. It's like I get their, I have their alerts turned on. I turned off every alert, like Al Arabiya, Al Jazeera, all of that's off, no BBC, but I get Sports Pro. I have to keep reading what the actual website is, sportspromedia.com. Those alerts are turned on. Mm-hmm. So no, I think what's important about this is that it's being led, according to Reuters, by Turki Al-Sheikh, who is a royal court advisor and the chairman of the General Entertainment Authority, and really the person that is leading these types of events and transformations in the kingdom, things that are really bringing entertainment, which boxing, I know it's a sport, but it's quite, it's televised in a way that makes it entertaining. But it's his thing, right? And so like when I was in Saudi in December, I kept getting reminders on my phone about the Day of Reckoning. But again, there was a clash between Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk. Is that how you say his name?
Yeah, and those two dudes were staying at my hotel, and so were
really?
all of their people and all of the film crews and everybody. And I was like, whoa. So that's how I knew. I think that was Fists of Fury or something like that. But
I think it was also, the May one. I'm not sure what it was called. That's true. Yeah. But I mean, there have been quite a few boxing events happening in Saudi in the kind of past couple of years. So it's not something that you can't imagine happening. It's something that's clearly there's some appetite for it within the kingdom. And then I guess you were saying how is this going to work kind of logistically? Well, the New York Times really did outline it, but it does raise questions about the World Boxing Council, the World Boxing Association, International Boxing Federation, the World Boxing Organization. There clearly are some entities that are trying to do this, but like you said, it might need a little bit of shaking up. So here Saudi is, and here Turki Al-Sheikh is, who actually everybody in Saudi loves because he's just created a lot of fun. This is a vision that he has potentially, if the rumors are true.
If you're casually following Saudi Arabia, anywhere from casually to seriously following what's happening in Saudi Arabia, I think one of the best follows that you will put out there is Turki Al-Sheikh on LinkedIn, on Twitter, wherever he is. The dude is the man. He's super interesting. He's got this there's just an enormous confidence that he has that I find to be intoxicating. And he is, you're right, this is his kind of, it's hard to really know, but he is putting a ton of emphasis and effort behind this, and it's something that is his thing, which leads me to believe it's going to be awesome if it comes to fruition. He's the one that is bringing not just boxing, but a lot of these other sports or events into Riyadh because he's involved with entertainment, and so it's kind of all connected, right? I mean, sporting is the ultimate live TV, the ultimate reality show, and so Yeah, I mean, one of the latest was going to be Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul, which would have been amazing. I think Tyson had to step back for a few weeks, but...
Yeah, but if you look at Turki Al Sheikh's Twitter feed, or sorry, X feed right now, he just tweeted tickets for the historic fight in Los Angeles titled The Riyadh Season Card will go on sale tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific time on Ticketmaster. This is a fight between Crawford and Madrimov, 3rd of August, 2024, Los Angeles BMO Stadium. And the sponsorships are Middle Beast, Riyadh Season, Saudi Welcome to Arabia, Red Sea Global, but you also have then Matchroom and a whole bunch of other Ticketmasters on there, and a whole bunch of other sponsors. So, you know, Saudi's clearly, like, this is a fight in LA that's branded the Riyadh card. So there you go.
That's cool. A good way to do it too. I mean, you've been bringing everybody in, and I had tickets to one of the fights. There was one in February or March as well, and I just didn't go to it because they go so late. They're like, I think it was late March, but the main card I think happens at like midnight or 12:30, which is, you know, it's a little late for your boy with the young children. But yeah, no, I think that's a good way to do this. You're like kind of putting the brand now out there around the world, and especially if this is going to be happening. And this new league is going to have PIF as a major stakeholder, if not the majority stakeholder, then a major stakeholder. Kind of cool to get the name out there and sort of make Riyadh increasingly more of an attraction for this kind of sport. So I don't know, just a cool situation. I thought they might be done for a while on big sporting investments, and as soon as you make that assumption, then something like this comes along. And you actually told me about it. We were talking yesterday. I was like, what? Really? And so yeah, it was worth going into for a little bit. But yeah. Good for them and good to see. We will keep an eye on it in the next few weeks.
There's a shout out to Aziz for bringing it to my attention.
Cool. So from Aziz, your husband, to Hannah, to Lucian. Yes, good. A good source of information. I was the last one to find out, but I was just like, what? Oh man, that's amazing. So yeah, $2 billion invested maybe. This is all at this point just reported, not officially news yet. But as you noted, when it gets to Reuters and the Wall Street Journal, typically it's pretty far along. So kind of cool.